Okay, we'll be going over to our wonderful analyst for today, and we're having no other than Dr. Femi Adefila, who is a media magnate and also a media consultant, talking with us today, looking at different news, making the headlines on our various newspapers.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Welcome to Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. Dr. Femi Adefila, we welcome you here today.
Good morning. It's a pleasure. How are you today?
Okay, I'm very fine, thank you. I'm Abby Dickinson, and Samson is also here today.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Dixon. How are you doing today?
Yeah, it's good to have you in the studio with us this morning.
Yes, sir. So we'll be looking at a lot of different topics, but I want to start with the out-of-school children, sir. What's your take on the out-of-school children, with focus to Oyo State in particular?
Don't forget, sir, that Nigeria has one of the highest numbers of out-of-school children.
Nigeria
globally,
is the highest so far, yes, according to
with
UNICEF.
Between 10.5 million to 20 million children out of school, and that accounts for approximately 12.4% of children out of school in the sub-Saharan Africa. And then narrowing it down to Oyo State, the figure is, if judging by percentage, Oyo State has a number of out of school children. In fact, the numbers are huge. So what's your take on the current situation, and how do you think the state can actually nip this in the bud before it becomes a problem?
Well, thank you so very much. I think the out of school problem is becoming a huge challenge and an embarrassment to the Nigerian nation. It's a problem that has become a perennial challenge, and the high time we pay attention to it, the better for all of us as a people. And it calls to question the effectiveness and efficiency of our educational policies, because it is the right of every child to be educated. When you educate a child, you train him, you civilize him, you secure his future, and you secure the future of the society. A child that is a street urchin, that is just left to wander around, is a danger to the society itself. It's now more embarrassing that grace is creeping into Oyo State. Oyo State was the state where Chief Femi Adefila launched free and compulsory education in the 50s. Why it was compulsory for every child to be educated. If that state, that geographical entity that was the center stage for the successful regular policy of Awolowo is now suffering from out of school challenge, there is a problem. And it comes to question our educational policy. You see, when we complain about insecurity in the nation, we have to do a holistic check of our policy as a people. How have we failed in turning out the right policies? Because if a child is not trained today, it's going to be your Boko Haram tomorrow. Like they say, Omo bere, as long as you don't attend to various children, the Bodija children will not sleep with their two eyes closed, because they are going to be a menace to the society. So it's a wake-up call for our performing governor. I have a lot of respect for Governor Seyi Makinde for doing so well in terms of social infrastructure. Each time I visit the city of Ibadan and I see beautiful cities, I went to the University of Ibadan, I went to Polytechnic Ibadan, and I love Ibadan. It looks so glorious now. But fixing the state is not limited to physical infrastructure alone. It's about fixing our educational policy. It's about training the minds of our future leaders. It's about giving them vocation, set skills, so that they can be useful members of the society. Even though they are going to be a serious challenge to the society. We have to look at it. We have to do our statistics. We have to go back to the drawing board. I mean, this thing that we are talking about, we believe hitherto that it was the problem of the northern part of Nigeria. But it's creeping now into the southern parts of Nigeria, where education was a priority, where education was a prized gift that we give our children, where we were labeled as people with PhD, if it's not happening in Oyo State in particular, I think it's a huge embarrassment, and we have to go back to the drawing board quickly so that we fix this problem. Because no matter how much we spend to fix our social infrastructure, to build this, to build that, the children we refuse to build today, they will destroy the edifice that we are building today. So my call is to the governor, and not just the governor Seyi Makinde, governors of southwestern state, governors of Nigerian state, to please attend to it as a matter of urgency. It is important we attend to it now as a matter of urgency. We need to do something about it. Thank you.
Doctor, there is this particular observation talking about education in Oyo State. The Constitution, Nigerian Constitution as amended, actually provides for free education for a Nigerian child as at when practicable. So the government has always hidden under the fact that as of this time, we cannot provide free education for every child. So now, I want to use this point to buttress what I am trying to say so that you will understand better. Talking about education, the Oyo State government has implemented several initiatives to address this issue, notably the cancellation of the 3,000 naira annual school levy in 2019 has facilitated the return of over 80,000 children to classrooms. Additionally, the state has reported reintegrating 43% of its out-of-school children population back into the education system, with ongoing efforts to further reduce this number. Now, the Oyo State government seems to be doing a lot in terms of reintegrating out-of-school children back to school, which is a very good one. But then the last administration of the late Senator Abiola Ajimobi actually implemented a policy asking every child to pay 3,000 naira per session, which is, I think, 1,000 naira per term, just to make sure that their needs in school are catered for. But it came to a point where the Oyo State government, the current administration, removed that particular policy and then said, look, the school is totally free, which is fine. But there are some infrastructural deficits in the state. I've been to schools where half of that school is now a dump site. And the state government, for me, has not done enough in terms of putting these schools in shape. Don't forget, too, that under the last administration, there are model schools built in Oyo State. There has not been any form of follow-up on that particular angle of education in the state. What's your take on this, Doctor?
Well, I don't subscribe to an educational policy that is absolutely free. I think it behoves on our parents to know and to come to the realization of the fact that they have a part to play in educating their children. There's nothing that prevents a parent from subsidizing government in educating his or her child. Look, this belief that everything must be free got to stop. It can be free to an extent, but if you are subsidizing it, there is no free meal even in free town. If it comes free, please check the interest rates. May be higher than the cost. I think it's not right, and it's mind-boggling that a woman that sells at Orita Mefa or Bashong can afford to buy 70,000 leads for a no-one-bay party. But to pay 3,000, 4,000 for a child's education becomes a challenge. So it's a question of priority. We should prioritize educating our children. That is our future. So we should not just pile everything on government or indulge in what I call escapism. Escapism is when you say you blame government for everything. Yes, government must show leadership. There must be proper policy, there must be proper strategy. But like somebody says, that regardless of our strategy, culture, we eat strategy for breakfast. Culture is important. When you have a culture to educate your children, you prioritize your children, then no matter the strategy, it will sit well with you. But your culture is at variance to government strategy, it can never work. So we must have that culture of educating our children, prioritizing our children. They must be first on our list. When we draw our list, educating our child should be the priority, should be at the very zenith of our list, of our priority list. That's very important. And coming to providing, then I want to believe that we need to expand our infrastructure in terms of classrooms. New schools must be built. Then beyond that, teachers must be recruited. Education is not limited to building classrooms.
Exactly.
No matter how beautiful an infrastructure looks as a school, if there are not enough teachers, it is not a good school. Knowledge is impacted by teachers. Teachers need to be there to educate these children. I can convert my living room into a successful and a functional classroom if there are teachers. And we must know that we are a very dynamic world. We are in the era that we are in a knowledge-based economy. We have moved beyond the era of resource-based economy. I'm talking of artificial intelligence. Africa, Nigeria, Oyo State cannot afford to play in the back. We must be in the front. And how do we play in the front? By educating our children. Education should be prioritized. Even education teaches ethics. You are very ethical. You are civilized when you are educated. At least basic education, secondary school, your mind is civilized. You cannot develop a skill set and go to where you want to go. No, whatever what you do, once you are educated, your mind is civilized, because it's a mind thing. A man is a product of his mind. If your mind is civilized, you're going to be civilized. You're going to have emotional intelligence. You'll be a responsible citizen. You will conduct and you will comport yourself well. Or if you are not civilized, you are not educated, you're going to be a menace to the society.
All right, Doctor, let me ask you this very quickly, sir. Since the removal of fuel subsidy, states are getting more monies, allocations from the federal government. Should the people of Oyo State ask for more in terms of budgeting for education in the state going forward? Definitely. We should ask for more, and we should prioritize education. Because it's the right of every child to be educated. When you educate a child, you are doing society a big deal of favor, not the child actually. Yes, the child is the immediate recipient of the good gesture, but the society benefits more. We should demand for more budget, and that's something about Nigeria. We care less about the budgeting system. The budget is the mandate, or is the covenant between the government and the people, that this year we will do this. You are making a promise. But how many of us actually bothers about scrutinizing the budget for the year? If I ask you, have you seen, you are a journalist, you may need to peruse it. But most people don't bother about going through the budget. The budget is the covenant, is the plan, is the strategy for the year. I think we should all impress it on our state government, on the federal government, to prioritize education. Unfortunately, even the federal government prioritizes security because of the insecurity that is biting hard in Nigeria. But if we attack the very reason where we have so much insecurity, for instance, nobody can beckon on you as a journalist to come and join Boko Haram, to leave the comfort of Dominion FM studio and go into the bushes of Shaki or Irua and kill people. You won't do that because you are educated, your mind is civilized. Those who recruit people, they know where to recruit. They go to Malete, under the bridge in Malete, they go to Gate to recruit people who are sleeping outside. They offer them pittance and they recruit them and increase numbers of soldiers in their army of destruction. So if we educate people, you will take them off the street. An educated mind is a mind that is ready to contribute meaningfully to the development of the society. So we should prioritize education. We should impress it on our governors, on our senators,
on the president. That's why, look, that's why most often than not, I tell people I bother less about what is happening between Nakacha and Akpabio. I will not die in their war. I care less about that. Where the going was good, they didn't call anybody. But now that the going has gone horrid, they should not call me. I want to bother about what are you budgeting for the education. I don't care. With due respect, I'm not an apostle of sexual harassment. Yes, I be he for she. But for Canada Nigerians, we bother about what is not our business. What's my business with what is going on between Natasha and Akpabio? I care more about what is going on. How are they spending my money? When they were traveling abroad and flirting around, nobody called me. Now that things have gone horrid, we should bother less about that. We should bother more about how are they spending our money? How are they budgeting our money? Now they want to do a security summit. Why are we doing a summit for crying out? Why do we need a summit? We know where the problems are. We know where the bandits are. We know where the terrorists are. We know that we need equipment to get them out. Why are we sitting down again in a talk show? It's not necessary for Nigerians. We should focus on where our problems are instead of just window dressing and joining them to fight in their wars. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Doctor. Just before we leave this particular topic, you know, you spoke about insecurity, which I think is one of the major reasons for out-of-school children. We have the likes of poverty, some for religious beliefs as well, especially when it comes to the girl child. So I'm thinking, I don't feel the government alone should have this. I mean, the government is important, you know, the allocation for education and the rest. I'm looking at what's your thought about, you know, community campaigns, what's your thought about churches, NGOs, just like what the UBEC, that's the Universal Basic Education Commission, is doing, and some NGOs are also sponsoring scholarships. I'm thinking, what's your thought about that? Even neighborhoods, we could arrange a school. I don't think it's everything we have to just wait and depend on the government. If the government is not coming forth, I think in your own neighborhood as a person, or you even watching, you could be a part. You know, a child is there, what can you do? Just like you said, you know, your living room can be turned into a classroom if we have adequate, you know, well-trained teachers. I'm just looking at not just the government. I want to hear what you think. Can churches come in, NGOs, you know, individuals, corporate organizations? What do you think, sir?
Very well said. That's what we call social responsibility. Corporate social responsibility for social responsibility. That was a time when Obese Kwesili was Minister of Education. She introduced what we call adopt. Companies were adopting schools. Communities were adopting schools. I went to Christ Graduate. I know how much I've spent and I've invested on that school to bring back the glory of that school. We should all do that. We should see it as our calling. It is a mandate that we have to secure the future of our children and the coming generation. How do we secure the future? It's not by buying them houses, buying them cars. It's by giving them education. Parents should not leave it at the purview of government alone.
Exactly.
I'm sick and tired of making excuses. We should all make it a priority. That's a part to play. Corporate organizations have been doing it. They should do more. The alumni associations, we should invest back in our primary schools, in our secondary schools. Then, apart from that, civil society organizations must continue to make advocacy and continue to impress it on government in the advocacy programs on the need to attend to our educational problems. That the problems are biting and we are undermining ourselves, we are destroying our future as long as we continue to play politics about our educational system, the education of our children. And it's very sad that this is not happening in Oyo State. Oyo State was where Femi Adefila launched free education program. So why are we destroying the legacies of our founding fathers? Is everything turning around for us? as a people and as a nation. What is wrong with being black? Is it a cause?
All right, Doctor.
Is he a black man?
No,
Doctor,
it's not a cause, sir.
Very quickly, before we leave this segment on the show this morning, I want us to make a stop at something very important, talking about the Nigerian economy and the effect of loans on the Nigerian economy. On the paper today, the IMF has actually removed Nigeria's name from its debtors list, which means that $3.4 billion COVID-19 loan has been fully repaid by Nigeria. What effect is this going to have on the Nigerian economy? Is Nigerian economy going anywhere with borrowing, sir?
Yeah, I think it's good for the optics. It's a good news.
Optics,
and that tells us that people have been very critical of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's economic policies to have a rethink. That shows he's doing something and doing something right. Because it's good for the optics. If you have been removed from the list of debtors by IMF, it's good for the optics. That makes us a good nation in the committee of other nations that we can stand shoulder high. You see, no nation is 100% debt free. It is what you spend the borrowings on that matters. If we spend money that we borrowed on frivolous stuff, to do and beg, to buy vehicles for our senators, to buy private jets for our president, then we are idiots. We are not serious people. But if we borrow money and it goes to agriculture, it goes to education, it goes to social infrastructure, we build our airport, our decaying social infrastructure, the road between Osogbo and Ibadan, it's in a pitiable condition. Every nation in the world borrows. But what is important is what do you do with the money that you borrow? Then you must have a good payment strategy. Well, once you nobody, you see, it's only in Africa that we live what we call a debit lifestyle. Everybody in the Western world, they live a credit lifestyle. When you go to America today, credit card is what you live on. But you must pay back. There must be a payment plan that makes you credit worthy. So that tells us that Nigeria is now credit worthy, and that qualifies us to take more loans. If you are not credit worthy, creditors will not give you money. But if you are credit worthy, I built a television station. I took loan from Bank of Industry. It was a 5-year loan. I got a 1-year moratorium. I paid within 2 years. They've been writing me later to take more loans because in their records, I'm very credit worthy. So nobody build infrastructure, build nations, build companies from the pocket. You build it with loans, but your projections must be right. When it's time to pay, you must pay back. That's how it is. So it's an ecosystem, and we must make sure that you sustain the ecosystem by fulfilling your side of the bargaining by paying your. So it's a charity news. I think it's something that we should celebrate, and we should acknowledge that indeed it appears Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing something right.
In 2 minutes, Doctor, let's talk about politics this morning. 2027 is around the corner, and there has been defections from one political party to the other. But then, the former president of Nigeria, former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, is saying Nigeria is gradually moving towards one-party system, which can be disastrous for the country. Do you see Nigeria as a country moving towards a party system style of governance?
Well, I think we are in a transfer season, as we say in the world of football. Everybody, and that speaks volume about the quality of people playing politics in Nigeria. Are they people of principle? Are they people with ideologies? Are they people with philosophies? And my answer will be no. You see, an average Nigerian politician wants power and attainment of power at all cost. And they see political parties as special purpose vehicles that are designed to take them from point A to point B. They have no emotional attachment to the vehicle. Once it takes them to where they are going successfully, they can ditch the car at any time. And that's how Nigerians behave. It is not what is obtained abroad. Democracy is about multi-party system. Multi-party system deepens democracy. Multi-party system is all about democracy. People have choices. In other climes, we even have independent candidates during elections. But Nigeria, but one thing is this, and I tell people, it will be wrong to blame the president for bringing people to his party. No. Yoruba will say something. Wani agbonito sopa idunu olodeni. That means if you and I are competing for something and there are crises in your household, it is to my benefit. It is not the duty of the president to settle scores within Labour Party and within PDP. It is the duty of Obi to put things right in his home. It is the duty of Atiku to put things right in his home of PDP. So if they failed in their leadership, they should not shift blame. I pray we don't go the route of one-party democracy, because that is an antidote. That is the way and the pathway to dictatorship. And it's going to be very unfortunate for the Nigerian nation to go down the route of dictatorship. One-party state is condemnable. It is not what anybody wishes for. But Nigerian politicians must change their ways. There are times that you have to bear the pains of losses, and you enjoy the goodness and the grace of wins. When life makes you lemonade, please enjoy it. Lemon may come next time. If it's lemon, it's your lemon. If it's lemonade, please enjoy it. But Nigerian people don't like the taste of lemon. They prefer lemonade all the time. And life is about ups and downs, joy and sorrow. Because what they want is just to be in power equation. Nigerian politicians can't afford to be out of power equation for 4 months because they don't have second address. All they have is politics. And politics is the most lucrative business in Nigeria today. It's the only business you don't worry about NEPA, you don't worry about IBDC, you don't worry about diesel, you worry about nothing. You are fed every day, they buy clothes for you, you travel first class, you are pampered at the expense of the suffering Nigerians. You live on a common patrimony without doing nothing. You just remember us when election cycle comes. You just return and buy some bicycle and do some stuff. So one party state.
Hello, doctor. So sorry. I'm so sorry to cut you because time is fast spent. But I just want something. I want to hear something from you saying about a minute. I'm talking about the Labour Party, the defections in Labour Party. Sorry, the suspensions with Abure suspending OT. You know, his faction suspending OT and Kingibe. What's your take? You think this suspension is justified? In 2 minutes, sir.
I think so much comedy coming out of Labour Party. I don't even know what to say again. And today is Apure, tomorrow is Nanadi Usman. Don't even know what to say there. There's another guy, that's another Baba that was always claiming that as the vice chairman, it is his right to step into the shoes of the chairman. But I don't know. It speaks volume about internal democracy in our political parties, and how the fighting spirit and that they have, and commitment to their ideals, the philosophies of their party. It's a shame that Labour Party couldn't manage its success. You see, achieving success is not as difficult as managing success. Too many people can achieve success, but to manage success is a task. Managing success is a long haul. Achieving success can be a sprint.
Exactly. All right, thank you so much, Dr. Femi Adefila. Wonderful. Wow, it's been a great time talking with you, sir, and thank you for this eye-opening information. All right, you've been listening to the voice of Dr. Femi Adefila, who is a media magnate and a media consultant. We really hope we had more time. Well, thank you so much, sir. We believe next time when we call on you, you will be there to answer us.
Definitely.
Thank you so much, sir. All right, it's still Daybreak on Dominion Television. And thank you for staying tuned. Don't forget to follow us on our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and on TikTok at Dominion Broadcast. And on X, formerly Twitter, it's at Dominion Cast. We'll be going over now, taking a short break. And when we come back, it will be time for our traffic reports. Please stay tuned.